Okay, thank you for agreeing to be interviewed this afternoon. It's nice to meet you. If you could just state your full name, your country of birth and your date of birth for us, please.
Yes, my name is Pearl Gordon, and I was born in Jamaica, Clarendon, little district called New Ground. I'm a member of 7 children, and I immigrated to England in 1959.
So when were you born? What's your date of birth?
I was born in 1942, and I'm still here.
Okay, tell me about your family. You said you were one of 7 children, is that right?
Yes, I'm the last of 7 children.
The baby.
The baby.
All right.
Yes, they call me the baby. And my mother and father lives in Clarendon, and we grow up and we go to a Mount Providence school, and we were schooling. And then after that, I go to a private school. And my brother and sister immigrated here in the early 50s, and then I came here to them and finished school here. My father died about 40 years now. My mother is in her 90s. She was here not for about 5 weeks ago, and she's gone back to Canada. She lives in Canada. I still got my brothers and sisters around, minus one. One of my sister died.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, but all the others are still alive, and we're very closely knitted.
Yeah. Are they in England or Jamaica?
No, one of my sisters is here, and one of my brothers is here. My sister that I came here to was living here, and she immigrated to Canada in 1965. Yes, so we visit each other quite a lot because she's like my second mom.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay, so what was the age differences between you and your brothers and sisters?
Ooh, all of us is like 3 years apart. And we are, my eldest sister now is 73. So, and she's still alive. Yes.
All right.
She lives in Canada.
Okay, so as the baby of the family, how were you treated?
Like a baby. Yes, they treated me well. Well, I'm pleased. I'm telling you, because I think I get everything. Yes, my brother, oh Lord, he's a blessing, because I get everything that I need. And my sister is the same. She rings at least once a week, the one from Canada. And my sister, which is here, we keep very closely in contact with each other, because she's not living far away. My brother visits me practically every day. He came this morning and he's gone. You know, and my husband hasn't got a brother, so he took my brother as his brother.
That's good.
So we have a beautiful relationship. Yes. And when I came here, my brother and my sisters was living in the same house, because they rented a house, and they lived at Spring Road for some times. There was another set of family that share the house with us, but they are living now in Birmingham. And we lived there until we moved from there to Demock Street. Those was hard days. And we lived at Demock Street with a set of Indian family for a very long time, until my sister bought a house. Because those days things was hard, and snow was bad, and condition was terrible.
Yeah. So
And
tell me about some of that then.
well, as a black person, you came here, the condition, both for work and for living condition, was appalling. There's certain areas which I think maybe I wouldn't like to go back to.
Yeah.
You know, but we had a rough time in this country. You would be walking the streets and people call you names, and for no reason. and you ignore them and you go. But I think more so the men have it harder than us, the women. They don't bother us as women too much, but the men, they had to fight for the rights. And I remember even when the Notting Hill riot was on, because things were so appalling. And well, ever since then, the conditions start to improve. I came and I didn't have to get into any bother. I remember I was coming from Penfield. That was about 1961. And the snow and the fog was so bad. And I came off the bus. It used to come to Fighting Cocks and then turn around. I came off the bus there and it was so foggy. And I met those days a policeman was very nice. Oh, they were very nice then.
Yeah.
You could talk to them and you could, they see you on the street and they would tip their hats and say good morning. No, you don't find that. I think all those training are all gone. And I remember that this policeman, he saw me, came off the bus and he says, where are you going? Where you lives? And I told him. And he says, you know, you're not supposed to be alone in the fog. And he walked me from Fighting Cocks all the way to Demock Street. Took me home, take me to my door and see to it that I was in safely. You don't find that now. And work condition was terrible because you have to do twice as much work to get even half of the pay that the others get. True.
Yeah.
It was bad.
So where did you work first when you came?
When I came here first, I worked for Bradley. I was only a young girl, but I work at Bradley in Bilston, and then I go to college part-time and work at Bradley. And I went to the college at Technol. And also I went to the art college, which is now the art gallery.
Oh, right.
They turned it into an art gallery. There used to be an art college, and then a part of it used to be at Red Lion Street. That was in the early 60s. And it was nice. I think I enjoyed that a lot. And then after that, I just continued studying bit by bit. Then I married and I have a family. And gradually life keep improving from there. I go to church and I got saved in 1960. I used to go to church before I got saved. And I got saved and then I got married. And I'm still in the church.
Yeah. Which church is this?
I go to Mount Shiloh, Hickman Avenue. And it's a very closely knitted community in the church, because the church is like a family.
Yeah.
And my husband, I wouldn't even bother talking. He's very good.
Yeah.
Yes, he's my best friend. Beside Jesus,
Yeah.
he's my best friend.
Oh,
Yes, best friend.
So did you have a religious upbringing?
Yes,
Jamaica?
yes I did.
Yeah.
Yes I did. We go to a little church at New Ground, and we have to be in church every Sunday morning. Without fail, we have to be there. And the only way we are not in church unless we are ill. But we have to be in church. Yes.
So were your parents, would you say that your parents were strict?
Very Victorian parents. Even now, my mother have the same attitude.
Yeah.
Very strict. My mother were more so than my dad. She was the one that do all the discipline. Very strict.
Yeah. So what did the discipline involve? What happened?
Well, the Bible says, do not save the rod and spoil the child. And I know they didn't save the rod and spoil us. They did use the rod. And I'm sure it didn't do us any harm. You know, but for now, you saw the children, they're growing up without respect and without discipline. And I think it's because they move out the spiritual realms and gone into the physical part of life. They forget what the Bible and what the Lord says, because He never said anything which is wrong. And they forget all of that. And I'm not saying that you should use your rod all the time, because you can talk to the child and they listen firmly. But you'll be talking to a child and they're laughing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not any discipline. There's no discipline in that. And we could not do that anyway. And I'm telling you, they had 7 of us and none of us has turned out badly. We have never been into court. None of my brother or sister ever been into a prison. Thank God. And my mother can said, yes, I am proud. Because, I mean, my grandmother that I had, she's one that, oh my word, she was even worse than my mother, because she was living with us then. And when I came here, she was 125 when she died. When I came here, she died after I came to this country. And she was worse than my mom when it come to discipline. We have to be up 5 o'clock in the morning for prayer. Sometimes we kneel down and we're sleeping. You know, she called us to pray and fast asleep, kneel down by the side of the bed. 5 o'clock in the morning and you have to go to school. That was something, it was like, it wasn't a torture, but for you as children, I don't think we'd like that part. But after we grown up, we see the necessity for that type of discipline. And I didn't grow my children any different. No. I had 4 children, and I haven't grown them any different from the way my parents grew me. I didn't have to rod them, but firm. You know? My pastor says, grow the child in the way they should grow when they get old. The Bible told us that too. They don't depart. And not only that, if you grow them right today, you don't live to regret it tomorrow. So that was my motto. And they all turned out well, my children, thank God.
So you didn't use the rod on them? So
No.
So
No, I didn't have to use rod on my, especially the girls, because it was pretty easy to handle. I think I only had to be very, very stringent and firm with one of our sons, because he was very strong-minded. And I'm sure now he comes and he says, Mom, thank you for the way you grow us. You know, and if I didn't grow them right, there's no way they could come and say thank you. You know, he's have his own business, doing his own business. My other son works away. And my daughter, well, she's married one, and she's not at work at the moment because she's got 3 boys to take care of. And my other daughter, she lectures all over the world. And at the moment, she's in Texas. So she's done well too.
You got 2 sons and 2
2 sons and 2 daughters.
How old are they now?
My youngest is 34. Yes. And my eldest is 39. So they're getting on. But the good children. Very good children. I've got some grandchildren.
How many?
Oh, I've got about 15 grandchildren. 15 grandchildren.
Do you see them?
Beautiful children, yes.
I can see some
beautiful
around.
Yes, beautiful children. Some of them, they dance, my son children, they dance all over the country, and they go to different countries. He's the youngest junior champion for England.
Dancing? What kind of
Dancing. He do freestyles and Latin. 2 of them. And they just come back from South Africa in October, and then we all went down to Texas in April of 2000. And they're doing well. The others are in musics. They're not so big. The eldest one is 17, and he's in Canada at the moment. And the other one, she's studying to go to university. She's 16. That's my eldest grandchildren. One is 17 and one is 16. The others are young. Yes, very beautiful. Very beautiful grandchildren. Yes. They comes very often. They were here last night, and on a Sunday. Now the house is full because everybody coming in for the meals.
Yeah.
Although I can't do much,
Yeah.
but they come because their dad cook.
It's a nice big family get together.
Yes, on a Sunday.
Right. Do you all go to church together?
I go to. They don't come to the church that I go to. My son and my daughter goes to Gilmore Church, Minister Grant Church, that is in Welling Hall. My daughter, she's an evangelist. She go to Mount Shiloh. But at the moment, as I said, she is in Texas.
Okay.
And my other daughter, she goes to the nominal church. I don't really put a rule on them to say, well, okay, you have to attend the church that I go to. I says, as long as you give your life to the Lord and you go to a church, that's all right with me. They don't have to come to Shiloh to get saved, as long as they give their life to the Lord. Because at the end of the day, there's a reckoning for every man. Because we have to answer for everything that we done here. So I says, give your life to the Lord. Yes.
Right. So it would be right to say that you're very proud of your children.
I am. I am. I am. I think what would complete my ambition for my kids is see the mount up even more higher, educational wise. I know I can't force them to do, because certain things that they do, they think they reach now. But what I would like to see that my daughter, she want to do her doctorate. And I would like to be alive when she finished and passed on. Because she's done everything. She's have every degree that you can think about. She's done them. And I'm pleased about that. My son, well, he's doing his own thing. And I'm proud because he's keep himself out of trouble. And my other son, he's married and he's working. And he had a family. And my daughter, she's married and she's quite happy. So I'm pretty pleased.
Right. So what about yourself? What ambitions or
I
plans
worked.
did you have for yourself when you were younger?
Oh, I'm terrible. I don't sit down. I study a lot. And I'm a person like this. I'll be going from one courses to another. As soon as I've done one, I'd start another one. So I think when my children was at school, all of us would come home and sit around the table and doing homework. Oh, yes. And what I could not help them with, I got a tutor which comes in and help them. Well, some of them says, like my sons, they want to go to music. So I says, okay, you go. The girls wanted teacher to come in, and I did that. So we all of us doing homework at the same time. I went in and I did social and community work, and also I went in and did my 701 and 702. Yes, I went in and I did everything in the catering. Because I said, if I fall back on one job, and I went and do crafts. Also, I work within the community. I work with social services from 1971, part-time, and I work with a group of 5 doctors for about from 1984 until 1992. When I went into full-time work with social services. And I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot. The reason why I went in to do my NVQ, I started doing that 1990, 95, 96. But because I fell and hurt my back, I could not move to finish it off. But I shall do when I can. I fell and hurt my spine, and it affected my left leg. So because of that, I have to slow down and take things much easier than I used to do.
But you're still planning to continue?
If I can get around,
Yeah.
then I'm planning to go back to finish the NVQ, because I'd like to do that.
So why did you choose social work?
Because it's something that I liked. And not only that, I work within the Afro-Caribbean community in social services, because there isn't a lot of people that work within the Afro-Caribbean community, and when they employ me, that was the sole reason for that area, to cover that area. I work within the voluntary sector. And a lot of people didn't know what the rights are. A lot of people don't know what their entitlements are. And a lot of people are misinformed about this system. And a lot don't bother because they haven't got anybody to relate to.
Yeah.
They are left behind. And the social services looked at the area and found out that they needed somebody to do that. So that's why I was employed in that area. I was employed at first by the Home Office. And then after they finished the section, I was doing some research. And after that, then I just stayed in social services full time. And I served with the management committee and the planning committee in the social services.
Yeah.
And also the main cap. I also serve with the Crossroads for dementia and Alzheimer's disease. That was something I used to do, and I enjoy that a lot. And since I've been here, I have to terminate all those. But as I said, somehow I'll get back in touch with Kate in social services when I'm a bit mobile, because what they said, they would come to pick me up, to take me to these meetings. So that I'll arrange, because I'm a little bit more mobile now than before.
Okay.
And then I can do that, because I enjoy doing that. As much as I'm not working now, but that is something that I can able to put some energy in. Because what they were thinking of, that I should start a agency within the Afro-Caribbean community for dementia. And all that have to be scrapped because I fell. But hopefully, maybe later on they may be able to do something about that. Or if somebody is interested to take it up, that would be a good area to look at.
So, in your work, working in the social field, have you found a lot of racism towards black people, towards yourself?
In the early days, yes. In the early days, yes. Because you would go for a job, and although the jobs are there, they told you there's no vacancies. But you have a friend, and you said, okay, go in and ask. And that friend will go in and ask, and they said, yes, we have a job.
That friend was
a white friend. Yeah. And you'll send them in and they'll get the job. And although they don't need a job, but they don't know that you come together.
Yeah.
And he says, go and ask. And they go and ask, and the job is there. But you go, oh, I'm sorry, there's no vacancies. You get nothing. You know, some of the places was very good because they see you coming and they would give you a job. They would welcome you to come, but some, oh, no. And those days, my Lord, it was cheaply paid. Yeah. I think if many people had known what it was like here, they wouldn't have come. But the time has changed. God has changed the time for us. That it's not as bad now with racism. You find more integration now. And like going into a job, if you have got the qualification, especially in the government sector, you'll get the job. You have to have the qualification though. And also, sometimes you may not have the experience, but they still take you and train you. which is much better. I would say that the hardship of life for us, the older generation, was bad, but thank God that we survived them, so that the younger generation, life are much more easier. It wasn't any easier for the other nation. It wasn't much easier for the Indians, because we mixed with them, we grown up with them, and they have the same problem, the older ones. A lot, you know, I live with someone. When things need sorting out, they generally ask you, could you look at this paper, because they didn't understand English a lot. And we get on very well. They were one that, we were immigrants here together. I think we had stick together. If we departed now, it's because life changed and everybody is about their own business. But we generally kind of stick together when we came here, you know. It wasn't easy. Oh no. No.
How did it make you feel about yourself when you were being rejected?
Sorry that I came. You'll be walking the streets, and whatever they indoctrinate the children with, that's what the children come out with on the street when they see you. And you hear they calling your names, and you look around on them, and they run because they think you would turn one and give them one, you know. But you just go on about your business. But somehow, after they get used to you, I think is the uncertainty that they didn't know about, and the ignorance. I think it was more ignorance than racism. I think so. Because I think people had felt threatened then. But no, we didn't have to quarrel with anybody, have a fuss or anything. We just get on. And we found some beautiful white people that you become friendly with. Yes. Everybody wasn't the same. I think it's the same thing today. And in every races anyway, you find good and bad. In every races. You know, the way we were brought up at home in Jamaica, it's different. When we came here to see the condition that happened here, you think, oh my Lord. When you came and you saw it, you said, oh no, this is what we've been taught at home. The condition was terrible. People on the street, sleeping on the street, picking up things out of bin. Oh my God. We never thought that. So it was a bit surprising for us.
So what did they teach you at school about England?
Oh, they call England the mother country. And we're looking to the mother to take care of us. You know. We're looking for them to watch over us. But it wasn't like that. You have to fend for yourself. Until the time that I think the government sat up and take note was when our leading Prime Minister from Jamaica came here and stood up like mad and says, no, you invited them here. And you'll take my people here. You have to take care of them. And oh, he was livid, and things changed from, you know, it gradually mellowed.
So when did he come over here and say that?
He came over here in we have two lazarettes in Nottingham. He came here in 1959, and he came here another time. I can't remember what year that was, but he had to came. One time it was Bustamante, and the other time was Mondley. And they came, and there was really... Because I can remember as a young girl when Enoch Paul came to Jamaica to recruit nurses and recruit people to come and work. That's the way we get to come here. And then after we came here and then he started with this racism, God, I nearly died. Because he was the one that came to recruit people to come here. And many of us came here and we only come to stay for 3 years. But condition is bad. And you could not go home in 3 years, because 3 years, by the time you pay your rent and buy food, you haven't got anything saved. What are you going to go home with? You couldn't even pay your fare. So you couldn't go back home. A lot of people sold their lands to pay the fare to come to England.
Yeah.
Thought, oh, it's a country with everything.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. We came here, and when we came here, this place was run down, and you name it, and we work and help to build Wolverhampton. We, the black people, helped to build Wolverhampton. It was just a little arcade, little narrow streets, black country, factories everywhere. We helped to build Wolverhampton. Yeah. Work hard. Some of us work for nothing. And we helped to build back Wolverhampton. Build Britain, a matter of fact. You know, and I expect when I'm dead and gone, that my grandchildren should be here and have a better life too, because we work for it. I believe that.
Do you believe that racism will die out?
No, not as long as life lasts. Because, as I said, unless they go back to the scripture and start to teach it back in school, it will never die out. Because they take God out of the country. And the things that are happening now, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah. Because they take God out of the school. And until they put back God in the school, they will not have a better society. The children will be growing up without God and without the fear of God. And the children will be growing without the knowledge of the Bible. And they have nothing to live by. No. If it's even round the corner, they may not show it, but it's under there. And one thing they may afraid why they don't use it as they used to do in the 60s is because the government have put a law, and you can take them to the Race Relation Board. But it's there. Doesn't matter where you are. You know, I worked, as I said, I work within social services, and I go to different meetings, even with Martin Shreves. He was the head of the department then. And they treated me very nice. Because I used to be there with them. Meetings. If they wanted something, I'm sick here, and he calls me at home and to find out how I am. I'm not saying that racism isn't there, but they haven't shown it to me. But as I said, I experienced racism. But not where I was working. But I experienced racism in the early days where I work, and experienced it on the street. So as to say that it's going to die out, no. People are still going to be a little bit skeptic, ignorant of the fact, and I think more so they felt threatened. But I don't see the reason why they should be threatened, because they are working for a living. We are working for a living. And if they work and they put their money to good use, they can achieve the same thing that we do. Or we can achieve the same thing that they do. We only wanted to know what we are working for.
You said earlier that the children were calling you names, and it was probably out of ignorance. They didn't know any better.
Well,
Is that right?
Yes, because you see, if they hear the parent said something, children is like imitator. And they hear the parent say something, and they see on the street, they're going to call it, oh, show me your tail. I heard that you have a tail. I says, come on, have a look. But another time you says, oh, I can't be bothered with them. They're just ignorant. So you just go. You know, those was in the early 60s, early days. And they cut it out. Now the children, they play together now, the younger generation, and they grow up together, so they know differently. There's more mixed marriage now. And my friends, I've got a lot of English friends. My sister-in-law is English. So we integrated, you know.
So,
And my two daughter, one of my daughter, both of them are English. One is an half caste. Her father is a Jamaican, her mother is an English lady. My other daughter, she's an English parent. So we just integrated. And now you find people living more. So I'm going away. My neighbors, they're all English. I just give them my keys and said, here's my house. Take care of it until I'm back. So you find life become more mellowed.
yeah.
You know, and they know differently. It's more so that the young ones that can't get a job, you'll find they feel a little bit threatened. But I think if the government do more for them, they wouldn't find it so. But even so, you'll still find racism. Doesn't matter where you go. Because if it's not the racism with the black, it's going to be with the Indians. And if it's not with the Indians, it will be with the other people that are coming in, the new people that are coming in from all these other countries. If it's not, it will be something. They'll have to find somebody to blame for something, you know. And that's the way the world is made up, you know. We never experienced racism in Jamaica. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't there, but we have never experienced it. The white people that was there, the way they portrayed England was different from the way we saw it when we came. So I don't know if it's the government to be blamed or the people to be blamed or who. But we take it in our stride and we put it behind us and we work. And we just get on and live. And you find it much more easier. My children, they grow up with the white children, and I've never heard a complaint that they have any problem with them. All of them mix together, and they still do. So things are much better now than it used to be in the early days. So there's many things that happen that I wouldn't talk about because that is going back into deep waters. When it comes to racism, deep waters. And now you find that you're getting on more with people. It's best not to comment too much on that area, you know, because some of the experience we had, the bread used to put down on the doorstep and they're not wrapped. And the things used to be awful. The chip used to be just thrown in a piece of newspaper. And we says, oh no, we're not eating it off the newspaper. And they think, oh, we are funny until they start to get some white paper. It used to be a brownie color paper, not the white paper. And they get the brownie color paper and put it in and wrap the chip before we would buy it. You know, and the areas, it's a lot of areas. But you don't want to go back in a lot of those areas. The snow used to be, the tentacle that hang down off the house. If one drop on your head, you're surely dead. You know, God is good, you know. God has changed the country just for us. True, you know.
Yeah.
He has changed it just for us. Winter, my Lord, when the winter come, you know, when I was younger and the winter come, I used to go out and roll in the snow and make snowman. Because I was only young then. And the tentacle and the ice. You coming from work and you couldn't find where you're going, you'll pass your house. You can't find it, you know. Too much fog. And thing like that, as I see the fog coming down, they tell you, oh, it's time to go home. Because they know what is coming after now. So many of the places generally send you home early. You know, which was a God bless. You know, it's good.
Did you find there was a big change in diet?
Yes. Our diet was very limited here because the foods that we used to get here, we couldn't get it again. we had to live on the potatoes and bread, and thank God they had rice. We could have rice. But many of the things that we ate at home, we couldn't get it until in the late 60s. Then they start to import, the government started to import the things for us that we could buy.
What kind of food was that then?
We could get sweet potatoes and yam and green bananas and plantains. It wasn't plentiful then, but they started to import it that we could have to balance our diet out. We could buy meat here and fish. Meat and fish was very cheap. Very, very cheap. You could go in the market and you could get a pile of meat for just little or nothing. And many of the parts of the meat, they never used to sell it anyway. They always keep it and just give it away. And we could buy a lot of meat those days for your money. And with the job that I got, I worked 30 shilling a week. 30 shilling a week.
Is that good or bad?
Bad business. I couldn't even pay my rent. The house where we live, I couldn't even pay my rent. My brother and my sister have to pay my rent. And what they said I should do is use that and buy clothes. So I generally save like a couple of shilling out of it each week. And I put it together until I get a couple of pounds, and then I send it to my mom. You know, because they were good parents. And although I sent it, my father said, don't send any money. And I said to him, I want to come home. And he said, I'm going to book your fare and send back for you to come home. And my sister said, no, you stay where you are. Don't send for her, let her stay and make a life of her own. It's hard, but because I don't know what a hard life it was. No, I've never worked. I never have to work. No. None of my sister and brother have to go out and work for people, because my father wasn't badly off. It's quite you call them the middle class in Jamaica. We never have to work. No, and mobileless, I was a baby, and I never have to work. My two sisters came here the same day, and my brother-in-law, they came up before, and then my sister came, and then my brother came, and then I came. And life wasn't hard at home.
So why exactly did you come to England?
Because we needed experience, and not only that. The reason why we came, I came up in the first place, I was going to do nursing. And I started at the Royal. And I didn't like nursing.
Why? What didn't you like about it?
I didn't like to see people died. I couldn't take it. And I left it and then started to do something else. And I remember the thing that put me off nursing, I remember this young chap, and I never forget his name. His name was David, and he was a young white boy. And I was working on Deansley Ward then, downstairs at the Royal. And he had cancer. And I didn't know he was going to die at that time, but he was very ill. And they told him that he could go home. He asked to go home, and he said yes. They said yes, he could go home. And when I went back the Monday morning to work, he was dead. And that really hits me, because, you know, you get used to somebody and you nurse them and things, and that really hits me. And I just left it. You know, I just couldn't take people dying in those days. Don't bother me now. I get older and wiser. But in those days, I couldn't take it. So I just didn't bother, you know. But a lot of people came here to work for a little while. As I say, 3 years. Some say I'm coming for 5, but 40 years catch me here. I'm still here, you know. I'm still here. And, you know, this is my home. I've grown up here. I spent all my life here now. I came here as a young kid. What am I going to do? I know more about this country than in Jamaica. I would like to go home to Jamaica, But when the Lord said yes, I'll go.
How did your parents feel about you coming to England?
Well, my parents sent me. But at the end of the day, when I came away, I didn't see my father. The morning that I was leaving the house, he got up very early because he didn't want to see me leave. And he went away. He had we have a property which is not near. It's about 3 miles away from our house.
Yeah.
And my father went up to the property because he didn't want to see me leave the house.
Did you
So
know
I
about
didn't
that at
see
the
him.
time?
Did I know about?
Did you know that he left because he
No, I
want
didn't.
to see you go?
When I was ready to come and looking for him, my mom said he didn't want to see you go, so he's gone.
How did
And
you feel?
that hurts me a lot
Yeah.
because I came here with the intention that later on I would go back home to see him, but he died before I could see him. And that really each time is sticking my cross, you know, and I missed him a lot. I went home to see where to bury him, but I can't talk to him. And you know, in those days, children, you seen and not be heard.
Yeah.
And now that I grown up where I can go and sit and talk to him, he died. You know, so I make the best of my mom now that I have her. I go and see her every 2 years. And when I can't go, she comes.
She's in good health?
Yes. Oh, she's 90.
Yeah.
But she's much more, what do you call it, mobile than I am.
Oh, right.
She is much more versatile than I am. She got up in the morning and she exercised and she'll bring her leg right up to her mat, no joke. And no joke, ask my husband, and she lie down on her back and bring her legs right up into the ear. And she says, see. So sometimes, you know, we have much fun because what I do sometimes when she's there, I come and take my foot and put on her stomach and says, bring your legs down. And she says, well, you want to do that in the morning? I says, I can't because my hip give me a lot of problem. And not only that, I have the sciatica come in the hip as well. So it's a no-no. But she's nice. Yeah, you would have loved her if you see her. My mom is nice. I love her very much. Yes.
Tell me about meeting your husband.
How
did that happen?
Well, I met my husband. How did I? Accidentally. I met him, and I met him through a friend because one of the doctors was his friend. So I met him through the doctors. And I haven't looked back since I married him. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Why?
Because I don't think they make any man like him anymore. No, I don't. He's nice.
What is he like then, as a man?
As a man, God, you want to get one like that? He's very good. He's caring, loving, attentive. Best friend one could ever have. You can sit and you can talk to him. We can pray together. We can read together. We can sing. He's got beautiful voice. We can sing together. And I'm sick. He'll do everything for me. He'll clean the house. He'll wash the clothes. And he'll hire on his own because he's not so well now. So we get a lady to come in and do the cleaning for us. But like dusting down and stuff, he'll take his own time. But it's nice. He's the best man that God ever made. True, you know, for me. He's kind. And, I don't know. He just, I don't know, can't put it into words. He's everything that
I think you've done very well.
a person should be. He's nice. Very good.
So when did you get married?
Many years, many moons now. Many moons now. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. Many moons now. And we haven't had any problem. We go on holidays together. or sometimes if I've got to go and visit my mom, I'll go alone. But like we're going to the West Indies, both of us go together. Yeah. And he don't go anywhere too far and leave me. Right. If he goes to Jamaica, I just go and then back, because we miss each other. When he goes, I can't sleep at night because I miss him so much. Oh. And I would like anything happen to him. Because, when you have somebody and they're good, you spend your life to say, well, okay, this man is my friend and he's in pain. And if I am in pain, he feels it, he knows. And if he's sick, I knows. So because the two of us, the Bible says, we become one. Yeah. And I think that's the way we are. We become one.
That's great. You said earlier that as black men, they suffer racism more than you women.
They did, because...
Did your husband?
Well, not as much as some of the others. In those early days, you'd find the skinhead and the teddy boys, they used to walk with their chains. And they attack the black men until the black men start to defend themselves. And then you'll find a group. And that area won't touch. But they stop it. They better do, because I tell you something. They are easygoing people, black people. But don't ruffle them. Don't ruffle the feathers. Because then you'll find the other side of them. They don't trouble anybody. Especially the older generation. But if you start to mess about with too many of them, then it's like a peas in a pod, it shakes. So you're going to see the other side. And it's not going to be too good. So after a while, they just leave the black men alone. They do, So, but as I said, there are certain areas that I can't go into, because those areas was tedious in the early days. But my husband, no, he's never been into a fight with anybody. Never. No. But there's a lot of people within the community that I know which have a rough time of it.
What about your children?
My children? In what way?
Did they suffer racism? Or do you know of any incidences that they talked about?
No. I can't remember any. From school, I can't remember. I remember one school that that they go to. Yeah, that they go to, but I wouldn't call it racism. They picked on my last daughter, and that was when she goes to one of these high school. And I went and see the headmistress, because she was a monitor at the school. And it wasn't the children did it, it was the teacher. So I went in and I called him up, and he apologizes. Yes, he did. And from that, I've never had any more problem. No. They did well in school.
Okay, so your children didn't suffer too much racism at school then, you're saying?
No.
Not really?
No.
Okay.
And now I'm a grandmother. My children started school too. No, I don't think they do. We have a few incidents with one of the grandchildren. But apart from that, and it's only some boys, as usual, boys will be boys. And after the parents meet, everything's sorted out and everything is fine.
Okay. You said earlier that you think if they had religion in schools, then that might make a big difference.
Well, it used to.
Yeah.
But they take that out of school, and I think if you take God out of a country, then what type of country will it be? It's like a home. You take God out of the home. Isn't the home going to become rebellious? And I find that the same thing for school.
Yeah.
If you take God out of the school, what is the children learning?
Okay, so if you're saying that they take God out of the school, what do you think they could do in schools to actually make race relations much better if there's no religion? What else could they do?
Teach the children the truth, because black people is in this country more than 500 years. This country is built up by black people. They used to bring them here by ship. I can remember Queen Victoria says, well, you're not treating them right now. Wait, they're going to be here like the sands of the seashore. So black people is not just in the 60s or 50s. Black people start coming here. They've been here for years. And if you notice, a lot of the black people, children, they interbreed and they gone back turn white. So race-wise, I don't see why it's got to be an issue. I don't see the problem, because if you go around, you'll find that most people are relatives anyway, because of the intermarriage. In school, with race relation, they could teach the children. Tell them where people are coming from. Don't tell them people are coming from Shantytown and stuff like that. Nothing like that. And I found out that when they go to Jamaica, they went to the worst area to do these videos and whatever, documentary, which the government shouldn't allow it, because Jamaica is a beautiful place. They haven't really gone to explore the place. I think a lot of people, if they go there, they wouldn't want to come back. It's so beautiful. It's not because it's not beautiful why we came here. It's because of resources, financially. Resources why we came. Not because of the country. Because it's only a fool who'd leave a island like that just to come here to sit down.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I go there 97, and believe me, I didn't even want to come back. It's so beautiful. But because I've got a family here, then I have to come back. But for the children that are growing up now, I think years to come there will be more integrated than when we were growing up in this country. Because my children have a better life when they were growing up than I did when I started college. So, but I enjoy living here with the white people. We get on very well. And I think, as I said, my neighbors are all white, which we love one another. No joke, you know. Really love one another. I can leave my things and go anywhere with them.
So what positive aspects would you be able to say Wolverhampton has?
It is growing. And not only growing financially, but racially, everybody is trying to grow together. As I said, in every area you're going to find some good and bad, and that you cannot get away from. But some of the area which I've seen in Wolverhampton now, we have never had it. And it's these boys that are coming in, which annoys me a lot, with all these problems which we have never used to have. Wolverhampton used to be a place where you could leave your doors open and you're gone out and you come back and nobody messed about anything. And that you are frightening now to go out at night, and that worries me a lot.
So, just to round up the interview now, what hopes do you have for the future, for yourself and for your family?
Oh, Lord. Spiritual hope. Spiritual first. Hoping to grow more in God. That I can have enough grace to give others. And for my family, for them to mount up higher, financially and spiritually. and to help others in the community. People less fortunate than themselves. That I would like to see, because it's their country. And you should be able to contribute to your country, not sit down and don't work to contribute anything to the country. I wouldn't like my children to do that. Because I work all my life, and I would like them to do the same thing.
And would it be right to say that you've enjoyed living in Wolverhampton?
Very much.
Right.
Very much. I wouldn't go anywhere else. Apart from going back to the West Indies, I wouldn't go anywhere else to live.
Okay.
Because Wolverhampton is my home. And as I said, the people that are in Wolverhampton is my family now. And we get on together very well, black and white.
I think
Get
that's
on
a good
together.
note to end the interview on. Thank you very much, Pearlie Gordon, for talking to us this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Thank you.